Well, good evening, folks. I'm Bruce McDonald, and this is the Talamanca Review. I hope you're all doing well. I'm doing very well. I just had myself a wonderful sauna, and was perfect wood, perfect hardwood, and I got the perfect heat. There's just a few things I have to correct, but other than that, it's everything is going fantastic. There's, I don't know, something extremely, I would say, restorative about a sauna. Yo tiene, gracias. And my wife came in with me for the sauna tonight, and she just loved it. I don't think she really understood what a sauna was, right? And there was just a little bit of misunderstanding there. So, once she got it figured out, she was right on board. Big day for Mac users. I don't know if any of you are Mac users, but there was an iOS update, iOS 18, and then there was a major movement in the operating system on the Mac desktop from Sonoma to Sequina. And sure, I'll open the studio. And that changed everything as well. So I was just fooling around with it a little bit today. It's pretty cool, actually. Pretty cool indeed. So I'm pretty happy with this whole Mac universe. The commercial aspects of it I just loathe, but the way it just simply works I like. And this is from a guy who's been on Linux since 1997, basically. And then in like 2022, I started trying Mac. So, hey, 6 concurrent users. That's fantastic, man. Okay. So, today, we're going to talk about materialism as pornography. Okay? Now, again, this is a very, very subtle podcast. And I know that some people had problems with the blood and the temple. And at this point, I don't have any more words. And at the risk of sounding like, I don't know, what am I sounding like? Like I want you to understand what I'm saying. But at this point, if you don't get it, you're just not going to get it. There's an element to this that is, I don't know, it's kind of like calculus or something. Some people get it and some people don't. Okay? But if you get it, you get it. The whole thing just, boom, falls into place in your mind and you get it. It's like listening to a love song, and what the person wrote the song about, you've gone through the exact same thing, and you totally know what they're singing about. You play it for 3 of your friends, they haven't gone through it, they have no idea what the song is about. They might go, well, that's a kind of a nice song. It's got a nice melody. I like the lyrics. I like the way she hits the tone on this chorus and everything, but it doesn't really get me in the heart, right? But if you've gone through it, you've gone through it, and it gets you in the heart. And it's the same thing with some of these podcasts. And The Blood of the Lamb is one of those podcasts where you either get it or you don't. Okay? I can explain the words to you, but if you have no pinky finger or little toe in understanding and experience in this world, it's going to be very difficult for you to understand what I'm talking about, what the temple is going to do. And make no mistake about it, that temple is coming about. Okay? Make no mistake about it. That temple is coming about. I had people send me updates today. So it's coming about. Don't worry about it too much. There's nothing you can do about it. All you can really do is try to understand what's really going on and what's coming your way. So what do I mean when I say materialism is pornography? Well, this goes back to a podcast I did months ago, maybe even a half year ago. I'm not even sure how long I've been doing the Telemanker review now. It goes back about 6 months ago. And I think the title of that podcast was The True Meaning of Materialism. Okay? Now, one of the main ways that we lose perspective and consciousness in the Western societies is we allow language to get run down and dilapidated. And we don't call people on the language they're using. And very often it's because we don't understand the language that they're speaking, or where it comes from, or what it's referencing. Okay? So when Kamala Harris keeps repeating the phrase, we have to unburden ourselves from the past so that we can dream a new future, a new possibility, that is a direct paraphrasing of the end. It's in one of the last chapters of Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto. She's not even hiding it. And we know she's Obama's puppet. And we know Obama's a communist. He was raised by a communist. And communists they're bad people, folks. Okay? I mean, all of us at some time or another want to change the world, make it a better place. Maybe some of us will go and do some volunteer work somewhere, contribute some small amount to help the lives of others. But the communist seeks to change the world through mass murder, plain and simple. When they say unburden us from the past, they mean kill everybody who won't adapt to what they want to do. And the way they're trying to kill Trump now, we're actively in the pre-stages of a communist revolution in the United States. And I'd say we're even further along down the path in Canada now. I can't speak for Europe. I don't have enough boots on the ground direct experience there. I can really only speak with confidence about Canada and the United States. Okay, that's all I really know about. Let me see if I can find this. Hold on a sec. Actually, I don't have to. If I can find her saying it, because you got to hear her say it. I'll just try it once. I don't want to waste too much time clicking a keyboard when... Oh, here's an absolutely brilliant interpretation of it, okay? So I'm going to play it for you.
Can be unburdened by what has been. What does that mean?
That's not working. I don't know why. Holy cow, I just have technical difficulties sometimes. Yeah, everybody's picking up on it now. Kamala Harris's famous quote, "What can be unburdened by what has been," is actually a Marxism quote. And the Wikipedia page describes her father, who was a professor at Stanford, as a post-Keynesian economist, but he was openly known as a Marxist. He's a Marxist, okay? Believes in the philosophy of Karl Marx, which is mass murder. And Karl Marx himself was a mass murderer. And he ended up getting murdered. They end up killing each other. Like, they're completely fucking nuts, these people. Okay? Completely nuts. And there's something just really, I don't know, diabolical and dark about it that is almost unspeakable when you know and you've studied some of the, like the original communist revolution was the Bolshevik revolution in Russia. What they did to people, what they did to professors, to priests, Christian priests, it's just diabolical. What Mao Zedong did in China. You know, there's a book, if you can get it, and I mean, you can order it online and get it. It's called the Bones of the Master, and it was written by an American dude and a Chan Buddhist master, and they went back to China together, and the mission was this took place in like the 90s or early 2000s, I think. Yeah, sometime around 2002, 2003. The book came out around that time too. A lot of stuff came out around that time. There was a watershed of disclosure. We've had phases of disclosure. The very practical political stuff all came out between like 2000 and 2005. That's when Perkins's The Economic Hitman came out. And that was a revelation for people. People had no idea our economics and foreign policy was that dark. We were like deer in headlights until Perkins told us. I knew different, but not because I'm more perceptive or smarter, because I was told. And I was raised in Ottawa by an economist who traveled around the world on behalf of Canada, creating trade deals with other countries. And at the height of our empire, which was from about World War II to, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we very often applied what we wanted to do with force and gave few choices to people. And followed up with murder and death, plane crashes, stuff like this, right? Basically what happens to the rock stars who don't stay in line as well. Or the free energy patent people who don't take the money. When the revelation of this period of history comes about fully, from World War II to now, and when people see what was really going on, they're going to realize just how ridiculous almost every value they hold is. Every value. Well, we're not, you know, we should stop Bukele from abusing human rights in El Salvador. That for me was a flashpoint for this kind of entitlement thinking, not to bring it up again, and I don't think he listens to me anymore. I think I've lost a couple of listeners because of things I've said, and maybe referencing their names, but look, I don't care, man. Look, I'm telling you the truth, and there's nothing in it for me. I'm doing it because it needs to get done. Like fixing a pothole in a road in front of your house because you know the municipality's never going to get around to it. If you're offended by my words in 2024 when I call you out on ridiculous thinking and ridiculous perception, if your feelings get hurt, that's a pretty clear sign you're not going to survive what's coming. Okay? You're just not, because you're not thinking correctly. And when you're not thinking correctly, you can't properly strategize and defend yourself. And more importantly, the people who are dependent on you. Okay? You can't. You just can't. So that's just the way it is. Let me try X again, okay? Because I want to get a little bit of color commentary in here. I don't know why it keeps showing that. I don't see the sound bar going there. I don't know what's going on. It's like very, very particular, this whole OBS setup. Anyways, let me just briefly check and see if I've got any comments going here. What's going on here? Yeah, hey Santo. Okay, yeah. There's just a comment or two. Okay. I'm going to do my best to explain a very complex and a very subtle, poetic and nuanced linguistic concept, okay? So the linguistic concept that I'm presenting tonight is that language, or materialism, is a form of pornography, okay? Now, very often, the language that's being used now is not very good. There's profound problems with our language, and one of the reasons I see it so clearly is I spend a lot of time in language, and I use it at the level of an artist, okay? And when it's used in a practical sense, it's very transparent to see what's going on. Very, very transparent. So, let's take a look at this. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to go back here. There we go. And I add my audio input and I'm good to go. Oh, why are we not seeing that now? Holy cow. Hang on. There we go. Okay. So pornography. The depiction of erotic behavior, as in pictures or writing, intended to cause sexual excitement. Material, such as books or a photograph, that depicts erotic behavior and is intended to cause sexual excitement. And 3, the depiction of acts in a sensational manner so as to arouse a quick, intense emotional reaction. The pornography of violence. Okay? So that's a slightly more elliptical utility of the word pornography, okay? But pornography is something much more than that. It's something, and it's what pornography truly is epidemic in our society now. It's epidemic, okay? So what do I mean by what pornography truly is? Okay? Well, if we stay with the most primary utility of the word, the non-metaphorical use of the word, the literal noun form of the word, it's sexual, okay? But sex in the natural system is for procreation and to keep the species going forward. Plain and simple. Now, this isn't to say that every society that's developed a little bit of wiggle room, meaning they don't have to work from sun up to sundown, they're not a nomadic people like Plains Indians in North America 500 years ago, 600 years ago. Anybody who creates a little bit of wiggle room in their society, a little bit of room to relax, will interpret sexuality differently. We see erotic depictions in every society that advanced to the point where they had time to carve, paint, or etch into walls erotic depictions. Okay? Those caves that are like those cave drawings that are 30,000 years old in France. Wim Wenders, the German director, very famous. If you know him, you know him. If you don't, you don't. He did a documentary called The Cave of Forgotten Dreams and went in there with cameras and showed the cave walls. And there were erotic depictions there from 30,000 years ago, right? So people drawing, and all they're drawing with is the charcoal from the fire. That's what they're using to draw. But because the interior of the caves were so well preserved from the climate, the pictures persisted for over 30,000 years. And it gives us a window into a society that lived a long time ago. But my thesis is as follows. Pornography is the observance of something that should be participated in. Okay? So most of us, our political lives are pornographic now. We observe politics, but we don't participate beyond our vote. Politics in a democratic society were meant to be participated in. Okay? I'm doing it with the Talamanca Review. But for most people, politics has become a form of pornography, an observer sport. Okay? Watching professional sports is a form of pornography. You'd be way better off just going to a field with your friends or your sons and throwing a football around for an hour than you would be wasting an hour or 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon watching professional football, which is theater. And most of it is rigged now as well, just like wrestling. So it's become a form of pornography. Okay? Now, all forms of pornography connect to something that is innate to us that we should be doing. We should be participating in. In many ways, tonight's podcast ties in to the concept of false catharsis. Okay? If you can remember that one. And this one is about phony participation in life. Okay? Now, I want you to do a little exercise for me. I want you to look at your life now, however old you are. And I want you to look at most of the emotions you've had in your life. Okay? And I want you to ask yourself honestly, were those emotions participated in, or were they part of an observational emotional response? Okay? So for me, I would say over 50% of the emotion in my life has been observational. And for me, it has been through participating in literature, poetry, cinema, television, theater. But these are all forms of derivative emotion. I'm not directly participating in those emotions. Okay? And yet they affect me. They become major parts of my life. Okay? How many of you remember how you felt when Morgan Freeman is walking down the beach and he meets Tim Robbins sanding the boat on the beach at the end of Shawshank Redemption? #1 rated movie on IMDb, the International Movie Database, Shawshank Redemption. That's interesting, isn't it? Because it's not that good a movie, and it's not that good a book. But people are stupid, right? No offense. I'm not saying I don't like the movie. I enjoyed it. It's just not something that resonated with me at a super deep level. Okay? When I think of the emotions involved in a cinematic and a literary construct like No Country for Old Men, it is some of the strongest emotion I've felt in my life. Okay, and this would include the birth of my child, my divorce, building my home and my life up here. And still, that movie, which came out in 2007, and the book, which came out in 2005, had a tremendous impact on me. Okay? Like, tremendous impact on me. And was my favorite filmmakers, Joel and Ethan Coen, teamed up with my favorite writer, Cormac McCarthy. So I'd already read the book once or two or three times before I saw the movie. And for those of you who've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, like the emotional content of it. You know, like Anton Chigurh walking into the Texaco station, right? You getting any rain up your way? And what way would that be? Well, I seen you was from Dallas, from the sticker on your car. What business is it of yours where I'm from, friendo? Right? I mean, those emotions are so powerful. They're almost like you had them in real life. Some people connect their emotions to very low things. I guess it's a question of taste. I don't want to say that my taste is better than other people's or anything like that, but I mean, if the 90s for you were HBO's Sex and the City and you're a woman, you're probably pretty shallow. Okay? If the 90s for you, man or woman, are emotionally defined by Seinfeld or Friends, the TV shows, you're probably a very shallow person. So all of these things are the product of materialism. Like, even in the past, to have a similar emotional reaction secondhand, you would have to go and see a live production in an amphitheater constructed by competent architects, a Greek amphitheater, for the acoustics to work and for 300, 400, 500 people to enjoy the production. Okay? Live theater has been around for 500 years. So secondary emotion, having emotions that are the result of something you don't directly participate in, it's been around for a while. At least 500 years since Shakespeare in the West. And probably we had versions of it before that. Now, pornography is probably the most pronounced. Okay? Pornography is so effective at secondhand experience replacing primary experience that there's now a birthing epidemic in Japan, Europe, North America, Australia, New Zealand. Okay? You think every birth one generation ago, before pornography, before the internet, was planned? No. Probably at least half of them were people who were dating and were planning on separating, but the woman got pregnant, they ended up marrying, formed a family, and stuck it out for life and raised the child and the children if they had more after the first one. Okay? So in a sense, your life happened to you. But for your life to happen to you, for your fate to unfold, for your destiny to unfold, you have to be participating in life firsthand. So when we look at the death of the Western world, I mean, in many ways it's already happened. If you understand what I'm getting at tonight when I talk about primary and secondary life experience. Okay? So pornography is the act of physical love between a man and a woman that should not be observed, but should be participated in. And if you remember the first time you saw pornography, you probably thought it was quite disgusting, and rightly so. you probably felt it was a violation of people's privacy. Okay? If you were on a camping trip with 10 couples and you all set up tents and you had to get up to take a pee, and one of the tents had low music on, and there was a Coleman's lamp turned on very dimly, and they were clearly under the impression that everybody else was asleep, and their tent was unzipped, and you walked past, and they were in the act of lovemaking, you would probably feel very uncomfortable looking at it. Why? And I'm not asking why because I'm saying there's something wrong with you for not wanting to look at that. I'm saying there's something morally and innately correct about you for not wanting to invade that privacy. And yet the proliferation of pornography is so widespread now that I'd say 95% of society is habituated to watching sex rather than participating in it. But like I said, it's not just pornography. Pornography is just, this is why I think the word itself is profoundly underused and needs to be redefined. Because the observance of something that should be participated in is far more widespread than, as Merriam-Webster's dictionary says, the depiction of erotic behavior as in pictures or writing intended to cause sexual excitement. It's not that. Pornography is a much bigger concept now. Friends, Sex and the City, all of the movies and the TV. They're ways of observing something and getting emotional content from it without participating in it. Okay? Do you realize how powerful that is as a propaganda tool? So people often think that propaganda is just, it's one-dimensional, it's flat, it doesn't have depth, it doesn't have height, it doesn't have body or substance. It's just like, you will go to the bomb fallout now, you will eat your ration. No, that's not propaganda. Really good propaganda gets you at the emotional level now. Okay? It gets you at the emotional level now. Okay? But this concept of pornography and materialism is even deeper than television, movies, and erotica. It is really the emblematic or symbolic fallacy of our time. Okay? What if I were to do a little Bruce McDonald here with his word magic, and I were to say to you that the mathematical language of calculus is pornographic? What would you say? How could calculus possibly be pornographic? Because it allows people to believe they've participated in something when they haven't really participated in it. Quantum entanglement is a spiritual realization at a participatory level for a deep meditator. As I said, I saw the place I live in now about 14 years ago in a meditative trance. At first, I thought I found the wrong place. It didn't bother me because I loved the place so much. I felt so at home here. But I thought I found the wrong place. Then one day, the pastor came up, friend of mine and my wife's, great guy, really spiritually balanced Protestant pastor. And he bought a lot from my family next to the church, and he doesn't use it all the time. He just comes up here to do fasting and prayer. Nice guy. But one day he took his chainsaw out and cut a bunch of trees down. And when those trees were cut down and the vista behind what those trees were blocking was revealed to me, and this happened about 6 years ago, Then I said, that is what I saw in meditation 14 years ago. How did I see the life and place I'm living now 14 years ago in meditation? How did that happen? Okay? Well, if you think you understand it through physics or through calculus, you're wrong. Science is a form of spiritual pornography. It makes the direct participatory abilities of consciousness pornographic. It makes you observe something you should be participating in, because everybody can do it. Our consciousness is meant to leave these bodies. This is the unique aspect of the human body. This is why no other mammal or creature on this planet has the fifth element, which is ether, and we do. The ether forms the gateway between the body and the psychic and spiritual worlds. A highway, if you will. And we're all patting ourselves on the back because, oh, Einstein figured out the theory of relativity. When some mystic in the Himalayas figured it out 14,000 years ago when the Vedic scriptures were given to man by Shiva. This is the arrogance of us in the West, and we're the ones who have created this society of proving everything. And who did that? Well, maybe Jews and Masons? Do you see how deep it is? Do you see how complete this capturing of our consciousness is? I told you this was going to be a very subtle, a very elliptical podcast today, on par with the blood of the Lamb. Okay? There's actually people out there now saying you can't really understand how the universe works unless you understand the math. I think those people need to be punched in the face. Fucking idiots. The arrogance of it. Jockeying for title and position in the postmodern world of footnoting spiritual reality and not even participating in it. And most of these people are getting their information and inspiration from entities, not from the divine. They're getting it from entities. I believe that the transformation we're going through now is so thorough and so complete that literally everything's going to be wiped out. Now you may, oh Bruce, I don't want to lose the technology. Believe me, you'll probably be better off without it. Okay? As long as correct spiritual teaching is given to you. If you live, it's like the Bible says, if you're poor with Christ, you're blessed. If you're poor without Christ, you're cursed. So if the technology goes away and you don't have proper spiritual practice, you're cursed. If you have proper spiritual practice, you're blessed. Okay? Now all the spiritual teachings are out there now. Anybody can teach themselves. You don't necessarily need a guru or a master or any of these traditional things. But it's all out there now. And you can learn how to do spiritual exercises that allow you to participate in the multiverse. Okay? But always do it in accordance with the divine. Don't demand what you want. Like, I want to go to Pluto. I want to see Pluto. That's an ego postulate in the multidimensional reality. It'll karmically backfire on you. Okay? And these ideas absolutely permeate the New Age now. The New Age has become the new stupid. Gaia television is just another level of propaganda. That's all it is. Oh, Antarctica. Oh, this. Oh, that. Oh, the extraterrestrials. Yeah, it's all true. But outside of its real context, it's meaningless. And the only way you can get the context is through direct experience. Okay? You ever wonder why the best sports commentators are people who used to play the sport professionally? Right? If you want to get really good commentary on a boxing match, you want to have Oscar de la Hoya or Mike Tyson there commenting because they know what's going on in the ring because they've participated in it. Okay? This is really a crowning moment in the Talamanca Review, and in many ways, all of my podcasts have been leading up to this one. And if I were to make a suggestion that the Talamanca Review has one postulate or one question for listeners and viewers, the question is, when are you going to start participating in your life? When are you going to start participating in your life? And to participate in your life, you have to go within, because it's all the quantum entanglement, all of, none of these fucking idiots, at CERN or any of these people have discovered anything beyond what even the shaman discovered in the tribes. Really, when you get right down to it, all they've done is prove it, which is a Jewish contrivance that comes out of the synagogues. Okay? And God can never be proven to another person. It can only be proven to the individual, by the individual, when they decide to take up the task of proving it to themselves. It doesn't happen any other way. Okay? So this entire material construct we're living in is a form of pornography now. Pornography is the ultimate metaphor of our time. To get excited by something we observe that we should be participating in. Oh my God, the physicists tell us that time doesn't exist. You should have figured that out yourself. Oh, but if it's not proven, you can't talk about it. No, but you can live it. And you can live a better life. A much better life. Anyways, this has been a very intense podcast. That's enough for tonight, just a 42-minute one. But this one has a lot to think about. It's a very dense, kind of haiku, poetic podcast. Materialism is pornography. I'm Bruce McDonald, and this has been the Talamanca Review.